Hi Cornerstone kids, I'm Georgia from Cornerstone Church, and I want to welcome you to our online worship service. Before we get started, I want you to get up out of your seat, grab a friend, grab your parents, grab your sibling, grab your favorite teddy bear, whatever it is, and I want you to repeat after me. Let's go Cornerstone. Let's go Cornerstone. Let's go Cornerstone. Woo! Now jump out of your seat. Let's get started. It's time to worship the King of Kings, and let's enter into his presence. Let's go.
Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. I've decided I'm not giving up. You won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo, echo in my soul. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. We sing Amen, 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 Amen,
Hey kids, what a great worship experience we had together. I love singing songs about Jesus. I love singing songs to Jesus. It's my favorite thing to do on a Sunday morning. And you know, this month we're learning about humility. And Jesus did so many good things to give us the best examples of humility. He put me first. He put you first. In fact, he turned this whole world upside down by giving his life for all of us. Jesus changes everything, and we can be excited about that. Enjoy the rest of the service.
Hey, this is Jacob, or, just Jake. Is everyone okay? There was like an earthquake or something in my room. I didn't feel it when I was outside my room, but then when I came in the room, everything was turned upside down. My table, my bed, also known as my couch, my Ferrari, my sculpture. That's better. I don't know how this could have. Wait a second. Is there such a thing as roomquake? Yeah, that must be it. Anyway, I'm supposed to talk to you today about something called humility. Humility is putting others first by giving up what you think you deserve. So that means like doing stuff for others, I guess? Like my friend Chris. He's really good at humility. I mean, he humiliates me like all the time. Am I saying that right? Humiliate. Humiliate. He shows humility to me. He's super busy, but he always takes the time to put me first by playing his April Fool's surprises on me. Like the time he put my keys in Jell-O. Or the time he made me a tray of brownies. Brownies. And who can forget the old unscrew the top off the salt surprise? Chris is a funny guy. Hey, you know what I think? And this is just between you and me. Chris is the one who turned all my stuff upside down. It wasn't a roomquake after all. This must have taken a really long time. I mean, he turned all my stuff upside down. I do need to call my mom. This must have taken a lot of work. I'm not sure that it's fair that Chris keeps playing all these April Fool's month surprises on me, and I haven't even got him once. I don't deserve this. What I deserve is to get him back. Was that my toaster? The story today is about Jesus when he prayed in the garden while his friends couldn't even stay awake to keep watch. Jesus didn't deserve that. I wonder what he did about it. Stay tuned. I'm gonna come up with a way to turn the tables on Chris. Chris is gonna notice when he goes in his room the tables aren't the way he remembered them. I'm gonna get the revenge I deserve. I'm gonna get the revenge I deserve, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, okay.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how he created us and loves us so much that he made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. And now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verses 36 through 56.
For months, the Jewish religious leaders had been plotting to silence Jesus.
He called us pretenders, snakes!
On the Sunday before Passover, Jesus entered Jerusalem to great cheers from the crowds.
Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord!
But even as the crowd swarmed in to see what Jesus would do and say, one of Jesus' closest followers, Judas, went to the religious leaders with a very sneaky plan.
What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you?
How about a cool 30 pieces of silver?
Jesus knew these plans, but he also knew that his mission was to face those who hated him and let them take him without defending himself. He prepared his closest friends for this during a Passover meal, and then afterwards led them out of the city toward the Mount of Olives. Judas had already left them.
In a little while, you will no longer see me. Then after a little while, you will see me. I came from the Father and entered the world. Now I am leaving the world and going back to the Father.
The air cooled as the evening darkened.
This very night, you will all turn away because of me.
Peter, the most outspoken of Jesus' friends, quickened his step and tightened his hand on the sword he was carrying.
All the others may turn away because of you, but I never will.
What I'm about to tell you is true. It will happen tonight. Before the rooster crows, you will say 3 times that you don't know me.
I may have to die with you, but I will never say I don't know you.
Me too.
Same. By the time Jesus and his friends reached the Garden of Gethsemane, they were exhausted.
Sit here while I go over there and pray.
As the other disciples settled in on the cold, rough ground, Jesus took Peter, James, and John along with him to a grove of ancient olive trees. The weight of what was coming pressed down on him.
My soul is very sad. I feel close to death. Stay here. Keep watch with me.
We're here for you.
We got this.
Prayers. The three friends found seats among the knotted tree roots, and Jesus went on a little further. Then suddenly, he fell down on the ground, face first into the dirt. Words poured out from deep inside.
My Father, if it is possible, take this cup of suffering away from me. But let what you want be done, not what I want.
After a short time, Jesus returned to his friends. They had all fallen into restless sleep. Jesus touched Peter's arm.
What? Huh? We're just praying.
Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour? Watch and pray. Then you won't fall into sin when you are tempted. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak.
We'll stay awake this time.
Got you covered.
Again, Jesus threw himself down to pray. His pain was so deep, blood and sweat beaded on his forehead.
My Father, is it possible for this cup to be taken away? But if I must drink it, may what you want be done.
Jesus returned to his friends once more, to find them still sleeping. The agony in his spirit forced Jesus to lay his heart out to God once more. He prayed the desperate words again, begging God to take away what was coming, and at the same time, revealing his complete trust in God's plan.
Let what you want be done, not what I want.
At last, Jesus knew the time had come. He returned to find Peter, James, and John buried deep in sleep. Beyond them, his other followers slept too.
Are you still sleeping and resting?
The disciples struggled through a fog of sleep, blinking and yawning. Below them, torchlight showed an angry mob climbing up the hill. The men were waving swords and clubs, shouting as they came.
Look, the hour has come. The Son of Man is about to be handed over to sinners. Get up, let us go. Here comes the one who is handing me over to them.
Jesus' friends staggered to their feet, and Peter clutched his sword. As the mob marched closer, they could see the man in front of the mob. It was their friend Judas.
Judas? What are you doing?
The mob had been sent by the Jewish religious leaders. Judas had already explained to them that he would greet Jesus with a kiss, so they would know exactly which man to arrest.
Greetings, teacher.
Judas ignored the other disciples and went directly to Jesus, kissing him on the cheek in greeting. Jesus drew back and looked Judas directly in the face.
Friend, do what you came to do.
The mob surged forward as the disciples just stood there, frozen and confused. As men grabbed Jesus, Peter suddenly sprang to life, awkwardly drawing his sword.
Should we use our swords?
Peter didn't wait for an answer, but he struck out wildly. His blade sliced right through the ear of the high priest's servant.
Oh!
Stop this!
Jesus touched the servant's ear. Immediately, he was healed.
Put your sword back in its place. Do you think I can't ask my Father for help? He would send an army of more than 70,000 angels right away. But then how would the scriptures come true? They say it must happen in this way.
Jesus turned back to the mob and the men who held him. They hovered there, uncertain, in the flickering light of their torches.
Am I leading a band of armed men against you? Do you have to come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat in the temple courtyard teaching, and you didn't arrest me. But all this has happened so that the words of the prophets would come true.
No one could respond to Jesus. Instead, they arrested him and led him away. And his friends who said they'd be with him through anything ran away. Jesus made the choice that would bring life to everyone, but that would cost him everything.
Somebody's gonna get a mustard-filled donut later, and I'm finally gonna get what I deserve. Hey, Did you know that Jesus didn't deserve all that stuff that happened to him? Like when his friends ditched him when he needed them, and when those people arrested Jesus even though he never did anything he wasn't supposed to? And then, when he was put on that cross, I mean, what? Jesus could calm a storm with his hand and bring dead people back to life. Why do you let all that bad stuff happen to him? Turns out, it was all a part of the plan. When God created the world a whole bunch of years ago, he knew people were gonna need help if they were gonna have a relationship with him. So, he told people he was sending someone who would have to pay for all the stuff they did wrong. And that someone was Jesus. But it's not like Jesus wanted to go through all that bad stuff. In the garden, he was like, God, any chance there's a different way to save the world and stuff? But then Jesus was like, it's not about what I want, God, because what you want is better. So, what did Jesus do to his friends in the garden who let him down? He put them first. And what did Jesus do to those people who arrested him for no reason? He put them first. And what did Jesus do for you, me, and the whole world? He put us first. It's kind of an upside down way of doing things. Putting somebody else first for no reason when they don't earn it or when they may not even deserve it. I bet we can put people first like Jesus did. You know, we could let someone else pick what restaurant to go to or what video game to play. We could give up our place in line sometimes. Or when someone surprises us by turning our room upside down, we could choose to not get even. So, here's the one thing I learned today. Put others first. It's not about what we deserve. It's not about what we want. What God wants is better. So, April Fool's month or not, I'm gonna put people first. And Chris, if you're watching, keep the surprises coming. But I won't be taking my revenge. I'll just be sitting here, getting what I truly deserve. A delicious mustard-filled donut. Ah, that's some good stuff right there. That's some good mustard. See you next time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hello, so-and-so friends.
Hey to you and all of our viewers.
From near
and far.
Welcome to the So-and-so Show.
I'm John.
And I'm Brandon.
And we have got a show for you today.
That we do. Why don't you tell them about it, John?
Oh, no, my friend, after you.
I insist.
No,
After you.
I insist after you. It's time to play a game we call After You!
And now for everyone's favorite game show, After You.
This is a game that requires humility, where you want to put the other person first. So, after you.
What am I supposed to do?
We're going to balance a cup of water on a book on our heads.
Okay.
Water balancing.
After you! Yes!
Holding your breath in a bucket of water.
After you!
Standing on a box while being hit with a palm frond.
After you. After you. After you. After you.
Nope.
Keeping a grape in your mouth.
What does it have to do with humility?
What?
I said, what does this have
After you.
Thanks for playing After You.
What a great game.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm so much more humble than you. I put you first every time.
You did not put me first.
Sure I did.
No, you did not.
Sure I did. You were the first to drop the water, the first to choke on a grape. I put you first in the game, which makes me first in putting you first. Wait a minute. Maybe I should have put you first by telling you to put me first. But if you put me first, because I let you put me first, I'd still be first at putting you first, which means, oh! It was you who were putting me first all along. Well played, Brandon. Well played.
Uh-huh. It's Bible story time with Kellen.
What's up, guys?
Not too much, Kellen. Just being soups humble.
Oh, yeah? Well, then I've got a story for you.
After you, Kellen.
No. I'm humble.
Thank you. Our story picks up just after Jesus shared what he knew would be his last supper with his disciples. His heart was very heavy, so Jesus led his disciples outside to a place called Gethsemane, a kind of garden with olive trees. And Jesus asked Peter, John, and James to keep watch so he could pray. The disciples sat and waited, tired after a full meal, while Jesus went off by himself to pray to God. It was not a happy prayer. Something very bad was going to happen to Jesus that night, and he knew it. He was so sad, so anxious, and he prayed to his Father in heaven with all his might.
My Father, if it is possible, take this cup of suffering away from me. But let what you want be done, not what I want.
He prayed this way for what felt like an hour. But when he returned to his friends, he found them sound asleep.
Couldn't you keep watch with me for 1 hour? Watch and pray. Then you won't fall into sin when you are tempted. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak.
3 times, Jesus asked his disciples to stay awake while he prayed, and each time, his friends fell asleep. And then, it happened.
Are you still sleeping? Look, the hour has come. The Son of Man is about to be handed over to sinners. Get up, let us go. Here comes the one who is handing me over to them.
The disciples watched horrified as Judas, one of their friends, came up to Jesus, followed by a large crowd armed with clubs and swords.
Greetings, Rabbi.
Friend, do what you came to do.
Judas went to Jesus at once and kissed him. This was Judas' signal to the armed men that Jesus was the one they should arrest. When they saw the signal, they grabbed Jesus. That's when Peter leapt into action. Peter took out a sword and lifted it. He swung the sword at the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear.
Yeah, go Peter.
Woo! Yes, and then Jesus' disciples fought off the armed men and brought Jesus safely back home. Thanks for the story, Kellen.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not exactly what happened.
Oh, don't ruin this happy ending for me, Kellen.
So Peter cut off the servant's ear. But then, before things got completely out of hand, Jesus spoke out to the angry crowd.
Put your sword back in its place. All who use the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I can't ask my Father for help? He would send an army of angels right away. But then, how would the scriptures come true? They say it must happen in this way.
Then Jesus touched the man's ear and healed him. But Jesus' disciples, his friends, ran, leaving Jesus alone. He was arrested and taken away. To be continued.
That's not happy at all.
I know, but that's what happened. In fact, things got even worse after that.
Worse?
I don't get why Jesus was arrested in the first place. He didn't do anything wrong.
True.
And if he could have called an army of angels to save the day, why didn't he do that?
Well, it's like what Jesus said when he was praying. He told God, "Let what you want be done, not what I want." Sure, he didn't deserve to be arrested. And sure, he could have easily done something miraculous to save himself. But Jesus knew that God had a bigger plan, so he put God first. And really, by putting God first, he was putting us first, because we were the reason God sent Jesus in the first place.
Oh, so it is a happy ending?
You'll have to wait until next time to find out.
Ah, rats!
Or, you could ask somebody how it ends, or read it in the Bible. It's a very famous story.
Great idea, Kellen. Thank you for the story.
Yeah, thanks.
No problemo. I'll see you guys later.
Later. Okay, so now we know where to turn to find out how to put others first.
Yeah, the After You game!
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, right. Jesus!
Jesus put his friends first, even though they fell asleep when they should have been keeping watch.
His enemies, too. He actually healed one of the guys who came to arrest him.
He put everyone first, which brings me to a question.
Oh, reveal the question!
How do you put others first?
By letting them order before me at a restaurant.
Oh, yeah, or by watching what someone else wants to watch on TV.
See, that's why you sat through 14 hours of baking shows with me last week.
Yeah, and I still don't know what fondant is.
You know what? You win, friend. You win, my friend. You are definitely the most humble person alive.
Not a competition.
Well, you're number one.
No.
You're number one. You're number one. No, you're putting me first, so I'm number one. No, you're number two. You're number two.
Talk about it together.
You're number two.
How do you put others first? And we'll see you next time on the So-and-So Show. Can we go now?
Oh, after you.
Okay.
See? Now I'm number two. I'm number two. I'm number two. Wait. Ancient Romans used to use grapes as earplugs.
I can't hear you. I've got a grape in my ear.
I have a grape in my ear. I can't hear you. Do you know what they used to use grapes for as well? Like so. When they swim. Oh, you knocked one of my... I can hear. I can hear.
Goodness.